surprised me
committee of the
though,
whole meeting
personally.
to order at
yeah.
6 PM in council chambers. Roll call, please.
Alderperson Murphy.
Present.
Macias.
Present.
Razak.
Present.
Timian.
Present.
Finch.
Present.
McNeil.
Present.
Castro.
Present.
Schmidt.
Present.
He warned me, it's okay. Thank you.
Good time.
So we do not have any remote electronic attendance. Do we have public comment, Chief?
We have one, Your Honor, Marcy Fosdick.
Okay, please come to the podium. You have 3 minutes, and I think another chief is gonna help me with the 3 minutes.
Well,
There we
good
go.
evening. My name is Marcy Fosdick, and my husband Butch and I were the tournament directors for the Quad City Classic Pickleball Tournament. This will be the 7th year that we have put on this tournament. It'll be held September 11th through the 14th, and it'll be 4 days. 2 days will be at Riverside Park, and 2 days will be at the Quad City Tennis Club. We're so thankful we have the park and the tennis club. It's awesome. Every year, this tournament is growing. In 2021, we had 230 participants. This past year, we had 419. That was a lot of people. 30 of those were youth, because we also put on a youth scramble at the same time as the tournament. The kids are taking over pickleball. Riverside Park at night
Yes,
is
it
jam-packed with high school kids. It's crazy. So I'm sure this year there will be that many more kids participating. Of those 419, 205 came from out of state. Came from Florida, Oklahoma, Nebraska, of course, Wisconsin, Minnesota, all the neighboring states. So it's amazing how many people we get. The Quad City Visitors Bureau is so good with their urban impact numbers. This year, our total was $153,423 that this tournament brought in 4 days. This is a $16,000, 942 increase from last year, from 2023. Our club is absolutely amazing. We give back to the community over and over. Some of the proceeds that we used from this tournament, we gave $1,000 donation to 5 different charities. So a total of $5,000 that we made. They were the 180 group, and I'm sure you have heard of all these. First Racket of the Quad Cities, Churches United, Humble Dwellings, and Bridging the Gap. It was really great to see what these charities do and know that we are helping them. The club has also formed a subcommittee. Oh, wait, 30 seconds. Call the youth committee. I'll talk really fast. And they taught 129 youth of pickleball, which includes the Big Brothers and Big Sisters, youth camps. This is a group that helps disadvantaged kids who would never have the opportunity to play sports. So we go in and teach them lessons. Okay, we taught lots and lots of lessons. 327 youth and 350 adults learn pickleball. So we hope that you guys will help us again this year so that it'll be a success. So thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for that update. Any other public comment? Okay, we move to our board appointments. Mayor's reappointment of Julian Scott Reyes to the Firefighters Pension Board for a 2-year term to expire April 30th, 2027. And the mayor's reappointment of Mark Beckwith to the Firefighters Pension Board for a 2-year term to expire April 30th, 2027. Any questions? Okay, hearing none, we move to our proclamation, a proclamation to declare the week of April 6th through 12th, 2025 as National Library Week. Mr. Lear, would you like to say anything?
Sure.
Well, first of all, Mayor, thank you in advance for this proclamation. Every year in April, a week is set aside to recognize the contributions that libraries make in their communities. In Moline, of course, we're extremely proud of the library that we have and are very proud of all of the ways that we can make a positive impact on the residents in our community. So doing many of the things that are going to be mentioned in the proclamation that you're going to read now. So it's a great week to celebrate all of that. Thank you again for the proclamation, and we look forward to seeing you all in the library, and even more looking forward to introducing to you to the Library Gardens Project next month. So.
Great, thank you. So I'm proud to read, whereas libraries spark creativity, fuel imagination, and inspire lifelong learning, offering a space where individuals of all ages can explore new ideas and be drawn to new possibilities. And whereas libraries serve as vibrant community hubs, connecting people with knowledge, technology, and resources while fostering civic engagement, critical thinking, and lifelong learning. And whereas libraries provide free and equitable access to books, digital tools, and innovative programming, ensuring that all individuals, regardless of background, have the support they need to learn, connect, and thrive. And whereas libraries partner with schools, businesses, and organizations, connecting the dots to maximize resources, increase efficiency, and expand access to essential services, strengthening the entire community. And whereas libraries empower job seekers, entrepreneurs, and lifelong learners by providing access to resources, training, and opportunities that support career growth and economic success. And whereas libraries nurture young minds through story times, STEAM programs, and literacy initiatives, fostering curiosity and a love of learning that lasts a lifetime. And whereas dedicated librarians and library workers provide welcoming spaces that inspire discovery, collaboration, and creativity for all. And whereas libraries, librarians, and library workers across the country are joining together to celebrate National Library Week under the theme Drawn to the Library. Now, therefore, I, Sangeeta Rayapati, Mayor of Moline, proclaim April 6 through 12, 2025 as National Library Week. Thank you so much for everything you and your staff do.
Thanks so much.
Okay, any questions on the agenda? Hearing none, we move to our item 8.1, a resolution authorizing a grant to the 12th Annual Fall Belgian Festival for the amount of $1,500 from the Special Events Fund to help offset expenses for the annual event to be held on Sunday, September 14th, 2025.
Madam Mayor, members of council, staff is recommending approval of the Special Events Fund of $1,500 to help support the annual Belgian Festival, which is the 12th annual festival, recognizing some of the original founders of the city of Moline. They've been around here a long time, so please attend if you can and enjoy a good cold beer, usually Stella.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Finch, seconded by Castro. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion passes. 8.2, an ordinance dedicating parcel PIN number 08-32-419-001, commonly known as 700 15th Street, Moline, Illinois, as public right-of-way. Mr. Vitas?
This particular item is following up to a previous discussion regarding the 7th Avenue project that will commence this summer, and this relates very specifically to the corner property where the old chiropractic office has been for a number of years. That project is already underway. The asbestos removal has taken place, and within a short matter of time, the Public Works Department will be bringing that building down. Recommending approval.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Finch, seconded by Schmidt. Discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion passes. 8.3, a resolution authorizing a grant to the Quad Cities Pickleball Club for the amount of $7,500 from the Special Events Fund to make the Quad Cities Classic Pickleball Tournament not only successful for the club, but also for the city in bringing visitors to our community. Mr. Vitas.
Given what you just heard this evening, which was well represented by Marcy, we're recommending approval of the $7,500 request from the Special Event Fund to the Quad Cities Pickleball Club and wishing them a successful tournament this year.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Finch, seconded by Razak. Discussion. I'm going to speak. I think it's wonderful that you gave us some good data. Love hearing that you're connecting to other nonprofits. I personally love hearing that you're investing in youth. And I would love for you to chat with our youth commission somehow about what you're doing, maybe give them a presentation. So we can follow up on that, right? All right. Anything further from the council? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion passes. 8.4, a resolution authorizing the mayor and city clerk to execute and attest to a First Amendment extending intergovernmental fiber optic system lease agreement with Rock Island County Metropolitan Mass Transit Authority, MetroLink. Mr. Vitas.
Yes, this would be an amendment to an existing agreement we've had with MetroLink for some time now, and we're recommending approval.
Motion to approve?
Second.
Motion by Finch, seconded by Castro. Mr. Schmidt.
Your Honor, I'd just like to make notification that my firm engages in work with MetroLink, and it is not in any way conflict of interest, but like to notify for awareness. Thank you.
Anything further from the council? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? This motion passes. 8.5, a resolution appointing each alderperson to serve as mayor pro tem on a rotating monthly basis during the mayor's term of office. Mr. Vitas, or Madam Clerk?
You want me to speak?
More than-
You can do it if you wanted to.
It's all yours if you want it, I mean.
This is a first for me, so this is just a resolution to appoint a mayor pro tem each month in case mayor is out of town.
Or can't be at an event or
Or can't.
something, right? You guys have been very helpful. I very much appreciate having this schedule in place. It makes it easy.
Motion to approve?
Second.
Well, motion by Finch, seconded by Castro. Discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion passes. 8.6, an ordinance amending Chapter 16 Libraries of the Moline Code of Ordinances, Section 16-3107 fees by enacting one new Section 16-3107 dealing with the same subject matter. Mr. Vitas?
Motion.
Oh,
Sure. Caught me off guard, too. So anyhow, in conversations with Mr. Lear, as well as with Alderperson Macias, we came to the conclusion that the numbers we're seeing in terms of the sale of the Compass ID cards is just not happening. So we feel that the nominal charge that's there, which I believe is $10 for an individual, $25 for a family, may be a hindrance. And then while we've seen the number of commercial vendors increasing, we are not seeing a increase in the number of cards. There's about $3,750 budgeted for this in terms of revenue, so we're recommending that we dispense with the charge and encourage people to actually secure the cards here in Moline. So we're recommending approval of this ordinance amendment.
Motion to approve?
Second.
motion by Finch, seconded by Macias. Discussion. Mr. Macias.
Just, the purpose of this ID was to take down barriers for individuals who have a hard time getting an ID. And unintentionally, having a dollar amount tied to it also made it difficult for people who don't have the money to pay for it or for their family. So I'm glad that we're going this route as we're going to help people finally get an ID and also help some businesses provide discounts as well by having more people use the ID. So.
Mr. Timian?
Just anecdotally, I was reached out to by Humility Homes recently, asking what can they do to get some of their recently homeless, but getting out of homelessness, helping them get IDs because they don't have a lot of the traditional documentation. So there is definitely an appetite for this program within the community, and I think that this is obviously a barrier, albeit small, that we can get rid of to help people that need the service. So I think that's great.
Thank you, Ms. Castro.
I was going to talk about actually something similar. I was just kind of wondering if we're doing any kind of outreach to organizations such as Humility or Project Now or other non-for-profits that do assist people who may be unhoused or may need that. So different organizations that maybe we can reach out to and proactively meet with them to talk about the ID.
Yeah, I think if that's the desire of the council, I'm seeing a lot of heads nodding. Ashley will take notes and work, especially with the sponsoring alderpersons, to talk through what direction they think it should go. I think we've had it since last spring or a year before that.
No,
2023.
it was in the fall.
Okay.
in the fall.
But yeah, I think it can be better utilized. In fact, yesterday I was at the post office, and while there may be federal guidelines for what kind of ID is needed to open a post office box, et cetera, I couldn't help when I was overhearing a conversation thinking, oh, I wonder if our ID could work for that. And because it was clearly holding people up from getting it was a barrier from getting what they needed. So if we can talk more about that through the staff. that'd
And
be
we
good.
shall. We'll follow up on it. It's a great suggestion.
Okay. Anything further? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion passes. 8.7, a resolution authorizing the mayor and city clerk to execute and attest to 3 lease agreements with Mitchell Troughton to farm city-owned property located at Price Farms. Parcel PIN number 17-28-300-002 and number 17-33-100-002. Rung Farm, parcel PIN number 17-30-300-007, number 17-30-300-053, and number 17-30-400-001, and Beeler Farm, parcel PIN number 17-29-300-004 from April 9, 2025 through April 8th, 2026. Mr. Vitas.
Yeah, we're happy to present the council, Madam Mayor, members of council, with the leases for the 3 farms that have long been farmed, purchased by the city decades ago. And we're recommending approval based upon the documents that were attached to the resolution. And for this year, these are all 1-year leases. Going forward next year, depending on what happens with our process on the Bowie farm, which is actually the solar farm that we're looking at building, that we would look at parceling that off potentially and perhaps farming maybe the north part of it and then building a solar farm on the south. But that's a discussion we'll have in greater detail when we bring the results of an RFP back to council. So we're recommending approval of this.
Motion to approve?
Second.
Motion by Finch, seconded by Castro. Discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion passes. 8.8, a resolution authorizing the mayor and city clerk to execute and attest to an intergovernmental agreement providing for membership in the Illinois Public Works Mutual Aid Network Agreement to participate in the program for mutual aid and assistance hereinafter entitled the Illinois Public Works Mutual Aid Network. Mr. Schmidt.
Good evening. So the Public Works Department is currently part of this mutual aid network. Their board of directors made some very small changes to the agreement. One of the changes was clarifying that it's just not for emergencies. It could be for day-to-day operations for mutual aid as well, and also future amendments to the agreement, how to do that. So those are a few changes. In order to move forward, we just need to approve the agreement once again to be part of the mutual aid network.
Thank you.
Motion to approve?
Second.
Motion by Finch, seconded by Macias. Discussion. Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion passes. 8.9, a resolution declaring non-motorized assets as shown in Exhibit A, attached here to and incorporated herein by reference as surplus property for fiscal year 2025, and authorizing the disposal of said non-motorized assets by the Assistant Director of Public Works through the legal disposal process that is most advantageous to the city, whether sealed bid, auction, negotiation, or otherwise. Mr. Schmidt.
Yeah, so this one is pretty straightforward as well. Looking to declare 2 non-motorized assets, 1 salt conveyor belt and also a sandbag maker, I guess, as surplus, no longer of useful life for the city, so looking to dispose.
Motion to approve?
Second.
Motion by Finch, seconded by Razak. Discussion. Do we have an idea which one of these methods you're gonna dispose by?
No, I think we kind of look at each option and we truly do see what's best is out there for the city.
Okay, thank you. If there's nothing further, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion passes. 8.10, a resolution authorizing the mayor and city clerk to execute and attest to a licensing agreement with Stony Creek Caterers LLC, doing business as Stony Creek Inn, for use of public right-of-way for use of the Bass Street Landing Public Plaza for the outdoor service of alcoholic liquor and food from April 23 to 2025 to September 30th, 2025.
Staff recommends approval.
Motion to approve?
Second.
Motion by Finch, seconded by Macias. Just so we're clear, it's the same thing that happens every year for Bass Street Landing concerts.
Correct.
Thank you. All right, anything further? If not, all in favor? Aye. And any opposed? That motion passes. 8.11, a resolution authorizing the seating of private activity bonding authority to reallocate to the Quad City Regional Economic Development Authority the city's 2025 home rule volume cap allocation in the amount of $5,455,450 to be used to support projects that will provide job opportunities and new investments. Mr. Vitas.
Sure. We are recommending approval of the resolution as requested by Mr. Ribley, Warren Ribley, who is CEO for the Quad Cities Regional Economic Development Authority. This comes up annually as a request. In the event that the city does not use its authority for purposes such as, just kind of give you an idea, issuance of industrial revenue bonds, housing bonds, not-for-profit bonds, dock and wharf bonds, education bonds, and tax-free bond financing, we would lose this money. It would go back to the state pool. So this action actually cedes the authority directly to CREDA, which is the Quad City Regional Economic Development Authority, and then that allocation remains here as opposed to being reallocated down in Springfield. In the past, we have used this funding source or this agency. One was Heritage Place, Inc. We all know that building. There was an $11 million revenue bond that was issued at that time to HDC, Inc. to build a 7-story office building. And that was like probably one of the first times we actually used it. Whitey's Ice Cream Manufacturing has also used it. So from an industrial standpoint, it has been used for that purpose as well. So as we look at our economic development toolbox, when we have a project that fits this category and we can use these funding programs, then we would work with Mr. Ribley's group to actually bring something forward. But up until now, at least in the last several years, there hasn't been a project or a project request.
I mentioned to Mr., oh wait, we're not in discussion. I need a motion.
Motion to approve.
Thank
Second.
you. Motion by Schmidt, seconded by Finch. Discussion. Mr. Timmy, and then I'll follow up.
So we obviously see the bonding authority. We do this every year.
Correct.
Why aren't we finding, because this has the ability to be used for housing. And I understand it's not free money, it's bonding, but it's still a bonding authority that we could work with builders to build the kind of projects that we're passionate about on land that we own or otherwise. So why is this just not something that's done
Project interest.
as in
That's probably more than
developers?
anything else. And if you look at the projects that were done, one of the other ones that was done, Heritage Woods, that was done using this bonding resource. That's a 99-unit supportive living facility. The other place was Kone Center, the Blackwell project. So, if it's the right project and there's the right investors who are willing to do it, that's what it takes. You have to have both.
And that still goes through CREDA though, correct?
Correct.
Because they have a bigger,
Correct.
because, and all the other cities are relinquishing.
They're all members. This was created a long time ago, back when Senator Jacobs was actually in the state Senate. That's how old this is. It's been a long time.
I had the same question. That's what I was going to say.
Yeah.
We have ideas. We know we've been chasing developers for varieties of projects.
Right.
And just making sure we don't forget. I mean, you and the CED staff are great. Just we can't forget. Obviously, this is part of the tool. From my perspective, anytime there is a tool from the state that is an actual benefit to us, we should try to use it as often as possible, because that is how we keep those tools, and we keep. They can't turn around to us when we ask for something and say, well, you don't use X, Y, and Z that we've offered to you for how many years, right? To me, that's really important.
That's correct.
Anything further from the council? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion passes. 8.12, a resolution authorizing the Director of Public Works to purchase office furniture for the City Services Center from All Makes Office Furniture, Inc. for the amount of $177,919.17. Mr. Schmidt.
So this would be the next
Oh, wait.
step. Sorry.
Sorry. Utilizing Omnia Partners contract number R191804.
This would be the next step to get Parks and Rec staff, community development staff to the City Services Center. We are working with All Makes, a local vendor. They're able to utilize a joint purchasing contract through Omnia Partners. So we've worked with staff to really get a good midpoint price for the furniture. Also that's durable and professional looking as well. I will note that this will appear on the city council agenda as well tonight due to trying to expedite the purchase. There's some anticipated 2.5% tariff increase in the next week. So again, just looking to kind of expedite the purchase.
Thank you for that thoughtfulness.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Finch, seconded by Macias. Discussion. All right, here. Yes, Mr. Schmidt.
I just want to say thank you for you and all our staff keeping an eye on things as chaos continues to rain down on us from the federal government. We appreciate when we make every effort to make sure that's not going to cut us out and increase our costs, because I think that's still coming and still one of the biggest things we have to worry about. Thank you.
Mr. Macias.
Thank you
And
for that comment.
people don't realize how expensive office furniture is. It's super expensive. Even a board, room table, all those things are very expensive. Those are, the average consumer doesn't realize how expensive these things are. So the fact that you're looking to see how we can avoid, those increases and also get those discounts too, yeah, that's commendable. So thank you for looking to save some money there.
Thank you. I assume we also have looked at what we can repurpose.
Within the building, there wasn't much left.
Or of our own.
No, of our own, we will repurpose what we can, and what we can't, we will
Okay.
obviously liquidate.
Thank you. There's nothing further. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion passes. We'll move to our informationals. 9.1, grant report update. Ms. Temple. Thank you.
Good evening, everybody. I prepared a few words, so I'm just going to jump right in. So grants are in constant flux between development stage, applied and waiting stage, approved but not started stage, in progress stage, and finally the completed stage. In some cases, grants are applied and approved and completed all in 1 year. But in most cases, this process can take anywhere from 2 to 5 years. So you may hear about grants many times throughout this process, but I'm sure it is hard to keep track of what project is in what stage and what was actually realized throughout the course of the year. This report highlights specific impactful projects or programs from each department. They've provided to me a project that they wanted to highlight. I was not personally involved in all of these achievements. However, I felt it was important to highlight all the ways that the city utilizes grant funding to support our community. We know that there is a lot of insecurity currently around grant funding, but so far none of our projects or funding has been impacted. And we will continue to keep apprised on updates as best we can and continue to monitor any required changes or incorporate any changes as we move forward. We are still full speed ahead. I would like to thank everyone for their support and contributions, small and large, to my projects and achievements this past year. I have learned so much on Team Moline and am really grateful to present this success report on behalf of my colleagues throughout the city of Moline. You all have a copy of these slides, so I will go through it briefly, and if you guys have any questions at the end, I'm happy to answer. So we don't need to go through that part, but I tried to, highlight the mission, the core values, the principles that really guide all of us here at the city of Moline and what we're doing and what we're trying to achieve. As I said, you know, all of our grants are in different stages at all times. So it's, you know, we may see, you know, grants awarded coming in for 2024, which is around 18 million. But the total funding actually received isn't reflective of that necessarily, right? It's really reflective of what's happened in prior years when we're getting the money, those projects are coming in. So that's why the numbers like don't always exactly match up. So I kind of wanted to show that, you know, kind of in different stages, you know, what we were awarded versus what the funding that we actually received this year in grants. And then looking at 2025, you know, what we're budgeting, a lot of those are multi-year grants. So, you know, the total of say DOD is 11.5 million, but in 2025, we're probably only gonna bring in around 3 million of that total because we're only gonna be partially finished with the project. So each, like I said, each department kind of gave me a project or, you know, a story that they wanted to highlight. You know, I'm not going to go into details of each of these. You can read through them. But we, you know, can just see how, you know, each department is, you know, going above and beyond to make these programs impactful to our community. So, you know, between social infrastructure, we've got bike paths. Of course, we have the DSIP grant, the largest grant the city has ever received, and a very important project that, you know, we've got crumbling infrastructure. So this is just a really great project set to start. I think around August, we seem to be on target with moving through the process. Right now, we're still working through the NEPA process, but I think we should be coming out of that like in the next couple weeks, so that's good. Library advertising using grant funding to, you know, help, you know, notify the community of all the benefits of the library, as we heard earlier this evening. Thank you, Brian. Parks has really been, you know, focusing on tree canopy and enhancing that tree canopy throughout the city. I did help them with the exciting news in the corner, getting an additional funding for more trees. So that's really exciting. Happy to be involved in that. Police uses a lot of smaller grants. They probably, of all the departments, have the most grants. They're just kind of smaller amounts, so they're not as highly advertised, but they're doing a great job in police, getting a lot of different grants to help supplement their programs over there. And this one's talking about retail theft, which is important. Public Works has this annual grant that they're using, you know, for cleanups, recycling, making our community more beautiful. So that's pretty good. We'd like to see a little more grant funding for Public Works, so we're gonna keep working on that. Utilities, I've been pretty involved with utilities all around this year, helping them with this particular grant on their lighting upgrades. This was a great project. It went, once we got started, it took a little while, but went really well. They did a really nice job of tracking and reporting on all the changes. I think there was like over 1,000 fixtures that were replaced as part of that in many different rooms and facilities. So that was a pretty big project, despite, you know, it wasn't a huge dollar amount, but I think it was pretty impactful use of that funding. And, you know, just looking forward, we've got a lot of grants in the works and just put in for, well, it says RAISE grant because I've been working on this report for a bit, but it's now called Build Grant. And we just had a good visit in Washington, D.C., lobbying for that grant and hopeful that, we can make that come to fruition this year on the riverfront. And thank you all so much.
Thank you.
Any questions?
I want to highlight, just so, as I did in DC, right, we all said to those folks, we're eyes wide open about the build grant, and I just want to make sure the council knows. Can you tell them how much is actually available right now?
Okay,
And with
yes.
that issue of,
So there was 1.5 billion originally available in funding for this program. The Biden administration pushed out about 90% of those funds 10 days before he left office. So there's very little money remaining compared to what is usually available. So it is a very competitive grant. For example, Rock Island did receive money with the money that Biden pushed out recently. And that was their 4th or 5th attempt at this grant funding. So it is very competitive. I think our project has a lot more unique aspects than their road project. So hopefully we can get a little more attention sooner than that. But I think they are, that we met with them and they indicated that they are going to be issuing another round of funding later this year in November, as has been the schedule. They're not seeing any changes in that timeline. So if we weren't awarded in this round, we would like to attempt another try come November.
I just want realistic expectations that it's a slim chance that we would get in the first round, but we can celebrate pretty well if we do.
Yes.
And we'll just keep trying. Yes, Mr. McNeil.
So I appreciate the presentation, and it puts in perspective that, you work with all departments and you have deadlines, and all departments have their priorities and their workload. So that's a lot, and we appreciate it. I'm pleased with our success. So that's.
Likewise. And also, I didn't mention this in my little presentation here, but also it's not just the grant writing, and there's a whole reporting aspect after that comes, and it's also very time sensitive. You can't be late, and that involves multiple departments, usually finance and whatever department is coordinating, and sometimes multiple meetings just to get those reports done. So it's a big complex process, and the city's succeeding at it right now. So thank you all.
Thank you. Thanks for your work, Don. All right. 9.2, April 2025 Status and Information Report. Mr. Vitas.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Council. And thank you, Don, for your report. And I will point out that the document that I shared with you earlier, which we took with us as our pitch piece to our federal legislators, both in Illinois and in eastern Iowa, was her brainchild, her work. So, kudos to Dawn for all the heavy lifting she's been doing when it comes to all grants, in particular this one, which is really significant for the city. That being said, we turn to our April 25 Status and Information Report, which was shared with everybody and is also available online, as are all status and information reports. And just a couple of highlights. One is we are at the 90% completion stage for the Moline Riverfront Master Plan, which MKSK has been working on. They are moving rapidly to try and bring this to conclusion. We've had a 3-hour plus staff meeting to go through all of the plan documents that they sent us, somewhere in the neighborhood of about 140 pages of material. One of those is the plan itself. The other one is the pitch piece. We returned comments to them by the deadline. There are very strict deadlines we're trying to adhere to try and get this done and in front of the council no later than May. So the turnaround will be quick, and you'll have an opportunity to see the final draft plan for city council review, input, and any modifications that you want. So it is coming forward very quickly. Passenger rail, the mayor did call a press conference during this period. Passenger rail is moving. That discussion is ongoing, not only here locally in the city of Moline and with the Chamber of, the Quad City Chamber of Commerce, but also at the state level. There are big pushes happening at the state level that our lobbyist, Matt Hughes, is involved in directly. Our state senator, Mr. Halpin, and our state representative, Mr. Johnson, are intimately involved in this discussion, ongoing, not only with IDOT, but also with the labor organizations in the state. Because as you know, there's a big push to have rail become a state of Illinois priority in whole, as opposed to just being dependent upon the federal government. Especially today, I would say that's probably true more so today. And that may be what's driving the discussions, is that we know we need to sometimes take the future into our own hands. We do have an upcoming memorial tree planting for former Mayor Stan Leach. Do you have that date memorized?
April 22nd, Earth Day.
Okay, and it will be a redbud?
It will, yeah.
So-
In front of the library.
So that we will be dedicating a tree, and that was the tree that the Leach family did select. So just passing that on. The National Community Survey and National Business Survey, which Ashley shared with you, is out. The random 4,000 postcards that went out to randomly selected households across the entire city. It's quite an impressive map when you see the pin dots of where these things all went. We really blanketed the city, and when that takes place, there'll also be the opportunity. Is it April 23rd? 5th. So April 25th, those who did not receive a card will also have the ability then to participate and complete a survey. Those two data sets will be maintained separately and reported on separately. But the beautiful part of this is, and as I shared this with Ashley, is once we do have the results in, and thinking about your ward meetings going forward that you like to hold, we'll be able to drill down literally by ward what the results were for the survey respondents, both those that received random and those who participated independently on their own. So when we start to meet with the wards, we'll have a lot of great data to share with them and talk with them about, which will help make those meetings even more meaningful to the participants. So that's all great news. Bee City is official. It was approved. So if you want to build a pollinator garden, I don't know if there's any bonus for you to do that, but certainly talk to Dawn. I mean, you know, I call her the queen bee on this one because she loves all things environmental and nature. Something to know about her. And so going forward, we're going to be looking forward to that. There's been some property acquisitions, as you know, on 15th Street, the chiropractic office down the street here, as well as the White House across from the police department. Closings are coming up for the 7th Street properties for the new fire station. So those are all scheduled and moving forward. No hiccups. So it looks like we're heading to the closing without any problems. I think very importantly, last year, if you'll recall, we had a major water main break in the city that literally took out Dan's entire ward. Now, I don't know if it was quite your whole ward, but it was pretty darn close. But it was a major problem we encountered. And one of the difficulties we encountered was reaching out to that large number of residents, you know, when their services were going to go down, and they kept going down because we continued to have water main breaks. We'd fix one and another piece from the pressure would break until we finally got to the last piece that wouldn't break. So credit to one of the residents, and I really enjoy this. One of the residents wrote about the experience, and in reading that email, and it was a lengthy email, you know, this program is almost an outgrowth of that one email. Because in other cities where you use, you know, Red Alert and some of the other systems, we didn't have that system. So we really we didn't have the ability to reach out to residents when there was a major catastrophe or if there was a major catastrophe coming, like a derecho. I mean, this alert system really does work, and it's being used, as you know, elsewhere. Right now, there are 17,000 customers with their data into this system already. So we now have the ability to reach out across the city, to focus into specific areas when we need to, and to really drive messaging to individuals so that they know what's going on. You know, and typically the messages are all received on their cell phones, as you know. So more people are signing up. So I wanted to point that out. And as far as our operations go, one of the difficulties we had, for example, when we had the two blizzards back to back, you know, and we know who was the public works director at that time. It was his first week on the job. Again, how do we reach the employees to not even bother to come to work that day because the roads are impassable, they're unsafe? There was no way to do that. And it was a real big point of frustration. This system will allow us then now to reach out to our workforce as well and provide them with emergency alerts when they need to be notified. So just sharing that, and it's a work in progress, and it's going well. So with that, I'll stop there.
Any questions from the council
for listening.
on the status and information report? No? Okay, we'll move on. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I'll call our regular council meeting to order now. Pledge of allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Do we have an invocation, Alderperson Castro?
I do not.
Okay, roll call, please.
Alderperson Murphy,
Present.
Macias.
Present.
Razak,
Present.
Timian,
Present.
Finch,
Present.
McNeil,
Present.
Castro.
Present.
Schmidt.
Present.
Your Honor, I request the approval of Committee of the Whole, Council, and Executive Session meeting minutes of March 18, 2025, and appointments made at Committee of the Whole on April 8, 2025.
Motion to approve?
Second.
Okay. Consent. I'm sorry, I was thinking back about this order piece that we have going on, the order of everything. That was motion by Finch, seconded by Timian?
Nope.
No, Mr.
Razak.
Razak, sorry, seconded by Razak. Roll call, please.
Alderperson Castro,
Present.
Schmidt,
Or aye, I'm sorry.
Aye.
Murphy,
Aye.
Macias.
Aye.
Razak,
Aye.
Timian,
Aye.
Finch,
Aye.
McNeil.
Aye.
That motion passes. Right, got it. All right, is there a public comment anymore? No? All right, we'll move to this number 16.
Your Honor, I request the approval of consent agenda items 16.1 and 16.2 and 17.1 through 17.4 inclusively.
Motion to approve consent agenda.
Second.
Motion by Timian, seconded by Razak. Roll call, please.
Alderperson Castro,
Present. Aye.
That's a two.
Two in a row. Oh my gosh.
Schmidt,
Aye.
Murphy,
Aye.
Macias.
Aye.
Razak,
Aye.
Timian,
Aye.
Finch,
Aye.
McNeil.
Aye.
7 ayes, or 8 ayes, no nays, non-consent, that motion carries. Non-consent agenda, first reading ordinances. Item number 19.1, an ordinance amending Chapter 2, Administration of the Moline Code of Ordinances, Section 2-4600, Commission established by enacting one new Section 24600 dealing with the same subject matter.
Motion to advance the second reading?
Second.
Motion by Finch, seconded by Timian. Discussion?
I don't think that one's second reading. Is it?
Are we on 19-1?
Yeah, we're on 19.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I don't have my thing right on here.
You okay? All right.
Yeah.
So, discussion? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Alderperson Castro,
Aye.
Schmidt,
Aye.
Murphy,
Aye.
Macias,
Aye.
Razak,
Aye.
Timian,
Aye.
Finch,
Aye.
McNeil.
Aye.
8 ayes, no nays. Motion to advance to second reading carries. Item number 19.2, an ordinance amending Chapter 2, Administration of the Moline Code of Ordinances, Section 2-2207, Order of Business, by enacting one new Section 2-2207 dealing with the same subject matter.
Motion to advance the second reading?
Second.
Motion by Finch, seconded by Castro. Discussion? Yes, Mr. Schmidt.
Just, no, I know, Mr. Atkins not here this evening, but I'm appreciative of the update, bringing public comment back in. I know, do you know, Bob, if we intend to revise the order of the cow meeting as well. Because no, we were trying to remove one public comment and we didn't take this one out because of sometimes we don't have a cow.
Right, sometimes, well, we usually always do have a cow,
Except on,
Round table.
Right.
except on a round table, right? And I think we are gonna bring something forward to that effect. I mean, that's where we left it with Bill Atkins when we spoke.
Yep.
So, providing for an opportunity for public comment, of course. Should always be public comment on every public meeting.
yeah, but I agree, 4 times every night was
It's a little
probably
bit
more
much.
than we needed.
Yeah, a little bit much. I mean, my experience through the years has been, I mean, typically it was like one opportunity in many cities. You know, in our city, we had more than one, we had several. So 2 opportunities in a given evening, once at the cow and once at the city council meeting, makes sense because you've got you've got a business meeting, you've got 2 different business meetings going on. Sometimes the agenda items are not all the same either.
Okay. Thank you. If there's nothing further, roll call, please.
Alderperson Castro.
Aye.
Schmidt.
Aye.
Murphy.
Aye.
Macias.
Aye.
Razak.
Aye.
Timian.
Aye.
Finch.
Aye.
McNeil.
Aye.
8 ayes and no nays, the motion to advance to second reading carries. Non-consent agenda resolutions. Item number 20.1, a resolution authorizing the mayor and city clerk to execute and attest to a contract with Miller Trucking and Excavating for project number 1462, 2025 culvert replacement project for the amount of $195,515.10.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Finch, seconded by Macias. Discussion? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Alderperson Castro.
Aye.
Schmidt.
Aye.
Murphy.
Aye.
Macias.
Aye.
Razak.
Aye.
Timian.
Aye.
Finch.
Aye.
McNeil.
Aye.
8 ayes, no nays, that motion carries. Item number 20.2, a resolution authorizing the mayor and city clerk to execute and attest to 3 lease agreements with Mitchell Trouton to farm city-owned property located at Price Farms, Rungy Farms, and Beeler Farm from April 9, 2025 through April 8, 2026.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Finch, seconded by Razak. Discussion? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Alderperson Castro.
Aye.
Schmidt.
Aye.
Murphy.
Aye.
Macias.
Aye.
Razak.
Aye.
Timian.
Aye.
Finch.
Aye.
McNeil.
Aye.
8 ayes, no nays, that motion carries. Item number 20.3, 1028-2025R, a resolution declaring vehicles and non-motorized assets as shown on Exhibit A attached hereto and incorporated herein by reference as surplus property, and authorizing the disposal of said vehicles and non-motorized assets by the Assistant Director of Public Works through the legal disposal process that is most advantageous to the city, whether sealed bid, auction, negotiation, or otherwise.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Finch, seconded by Razak. Discussion. Yes, Mr. Schmidt.
Are there any concerns, and I'm sorry, this thought just came to me. Are there any concerns with potential rising prices coming that us disposing of so many vehicles will have the funds available to replace them if prices are increasing?
That's a great question. As long as we buy American, we're good. Just don't be buying anything foreign. Most everything we buy is American. And Ford is offering great discounts right now, as we all know. You know, the Handshake with America program they just introduced. So a lot of the programs that we're looking at are all state joint purchasing contracts. So we're buying off that list. The capital equipment replacement schedule actually is a program where we do have funding available and planned for vehicle replacements. So when they get to the point where they reach either the end of their useful life or the value of the vehicle is best moved at that point, that's how that whole program is structured. And whether it's, I know you're looking at the police interceptor list. I can see it from here. Sorry.
That was a long list.
Yeah, it was a long list, correct. Does that answer the question?
So are you saying you're not
You're
not as concerned about a
Not yet.
potential hike in the cost
Yeah, not
on those
yet.
particular ones, especially because it's a joint purchasing
Correct.
situation?
These are, gross volume purchases that are across the state.
Okay.
And it's not just our state, it's everywhere. And as you know, we buy cars all over the state, not just necessarily at Sexton. On occasion, Sexton, we went to Sexton because they were able to reduce their prices below the state joint purchasing price. And in that case, then we bought them there since we've all been on the council and on the board. So,
Do you have a hand raised?
Just, thank you, Your Honor. I mean, I know these tariffs don't affect American goods, but the raw materials do.
chips.
They are affected by tariffs,
Yeah.
whether they're constructed here or not. So I would just ask staff to be cognizant of that while building the budget this year. And because it's going to, our vehicle replacement already goes up every year. That's just inflation, but I suspect it'll go up a little bit higher. And these vehicles aren't cheap, so I think that it's going to be a bit of a kick in the pants for some of these.
Yeah, I anticipate that, you know, and again, Carol and I have been discussing the upcoming budget season and what the expectations might be. So there'll be some belt tightening, obviously, because we don't have a crystal ball to see what's coming our way or the impact on what they're doing right now in Washington. So,
Thank you. If there's nothing further, roll call, please.
Alderperson Castro.
Aye.
Schmidt.
Aye.
Murphy. Macias.
Aye.
Razak.
Aye.
Timian.
Aye.
Finch.
Aye.
McNeil.
Aye.
8 ayes, no nays, that motion carries. Item number 20.4, a resolution authorizing the Director of Public Works to purchase office furniture for the City Services Center from All Makes Office Furniture, Inc. for the amount of $177,919.17, utilizing Omnia Partners contract number R191804.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Finch, seconded by Razak. Discussion? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Alderperson Castro.
Aye.
Schmidt.
Aye.
Murphy. Macias.
Aye.
Razak.
Aye.
Timian.
Aye.
Finch.
Aye.
McNeil.
Aye.
8 ayes, no nays, that motion carries. Item number 20.5, a resolution approving a resolution for improvement under the Illinois Highway Code for motor fuel tax, section number 23-00292-00-RP, 34th Street reconstruction from 4th Avenue to University Drive for the amount of $800,000.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Finch, seconded by Razak. Discussion. I will tell you, I'm very happy to see this coming through because I have gotten an email specifically about this section. And I drive it quite often, so I'm glad to see it coming to fruition. If there's nothing further, roll call, please.
Alderperson Castro.
Aye.
Schmidt.
Aye.
Murphy.
Aye.
Macias.
Aye.
Razak.
Aye.
Timian.
Aye.
Finch.
Aye.
McNeil.
Aye.
8 ayes, no nays, that motion carries. Item number 20.6, a resolution appointing and designating Ashley R. Kilker, Human Resources Benefits Administrator, as an authorized agent of the City of Moline to act on behalf of the City of Moline in all or any matters pertaining to the Illinois Municipal Retirement Fund.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Finch, seconded by Castro. Discussion. Ms. Kostopoulos, would we be allowed in this section for Bob to give just a short synopsis of an observation they have made about
Yeah.
IMRF?
Sure.
Please update briefly, and I'll follow up with what I did with that memo.
Oh, okay, great. So basically, what's going on is a customer service problem with IMRF. IMRF is a huge organization with huge assets across the entire state of Illinois, representing municipal employees, municipal, state, county, municipal employees. And one of the problems we have is being able to turn around retirees following the rules, the protocols that are in place, and then finding out that, you know, they have to wait beyond their actual retirement date to receive benefits. That's one of the big problems. And you can come on up here, Leah, if you'd like to, because it's coming from your department. So we want to reach out to IMRF, and Leah and I have talked about not just Moline, but working with IPELRA as well, and finding others who are like situated so that we can have a voice in a discussion with the board that is there to serve municipal employees on this pension fund. They are just not receptive. I can speak from personal experience, having visited their offices once, having to live in the Chicagoland area, and just being rejected out of hand. You don't have an appointment, sir, you'll have to leave. I mean, there's no one who can see you, there's no one who can talk to you, there's no one who can answer your questions. That's not what they're supposed to be doing. And that goes back about 6 years ago, when I first moved back to Illinois. So, that's just an example. When you get on the phone, you cannot get responsiveness. You can be on hold for hours trying to get somebody to speak with you. So, if you want to add to that, Leah, maybe I missed some of the things in your memo because it was quite lengthy. We really want to go on record with them, noting our dissatisfaction with their performance.
Sure, I'm happy to speak to that. Some of the challenges that we were facing with IMRF, they rolled out a new website. A lot of the functionality that we had to be able to help our employees has gone away, and we feel like it's actually made it harder for our employees. And IMRF does represent over 3,000 employers in the state of Illinois. So hold times of 2.5, 3 hours. A standard response time, they tell you to allow at least 10 business days. And, you know, for us, I feel like that would be unacceptable if we asked somebody to wait that long. So we'd really like to take our concerns to them. Ashley and I had a call with them. I think it took like 6 weeks for them to actually talk with us, and then the follow-up still hasn't come. So really frustrated, you know, really trying to help our employees. We have employees who are retiring. They won't accept the retirement for more than 30 days in advance, but then they tell you, the retiree, that it's going to take at least 8 to 12 weeks before you receive your first pension payment. So someone who's now on a limited income is waiting for 2 months, you know, after they retire to get that first pension payment. So chatted with Bob. There is some legislation out there that I was looking to address maybe some of these issues, but potentially working with our colleagues in other municipalities to be a collective voice to really bring this forward and try to elicit some change.
Thank you, and I appreciate having that memo shared with me. I didn't pass it on to you all today, but I'll forward it to you so you see what I shared with the governor's liaison that I work with, Jack Can. I just thought it was really important that he understand more of the context for what's happening across the state, and that is one of my points of contact to get information back. He knows who to talk to maybe in those arenas and see if we can get any attention on that. But so that email did go out.
Great,
Thank you.
Yep. Any questions for staff on that? Okay, thank you for allowing time for that context. If there's nothing further, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That
Mayor, we
motion-
need to do
Your
a
Honor.
roll call.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Well, I lost my-
Lord, we do have a motion on the floor, correct?
We do.
Back that far, okay. All right, so roll call, please.
Alderperson Castro.
Aye.
Schmidt.
Aye.
Murphy.
Aye.
Macias.
Aye.
Razak.
Aye.
Timian.
Aye.
Finch.
Aye.
McNeil.
Aye.
8 ayes, no nays, that motion carries. Item number 20.7, a resolution authorizing the Director of Engineering to purchase light fixtures from Springfield Electric Supply Company for the 2025 Capital Improvement Project number 1418, 7th Avenue Reconstruction, 15th Street to west of 19th Street for the amount of $199,040.85.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Finch, seconded by Razak. Discussion? Hearing none, all, roll call, please.
Alderperson Castro.
Aye.
Schmidt.
Aye.
Murphy.
Aye.
Macias.
Aye.
Razak.
Aye.
Timian.
Aye.
Finch.
Aye.
McNeil.
Aye.
8 ayes, no nays, that motion carries. Item number 20.8, a resolution authorizing the mayor and city clerk to execute and attest to a contract with Centennial Contractors of the Quad Cities, Inc. for project number 1418, 7th Avenue Reconstruction, 15th Street to west of 19th Street for the amount of $2,998,156.21.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Finch, seconded by Timian. Discussion? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Alderperson Castro.
Aye.
Schmidt.
Aye.
Murphy.
Aye.
Macias.
Aye.
Razak.
Aye.
Timian.
Aye.
Finch.
Aye.
McNeil.
Aye.
8 ayes, no nays, that motion carries, and that's all I have this evening, Your Honor.
Thank you. All right, miscellaneous business. I want to draw your attention to something that was shared with me as we were talking about the train situations, and Mr. Vitas mentioned a state solution potentially for us to be connected. That work continues. Mr. Hughes, our lobbyist, is heavily involved in monitoring the conversations happening down in Springfield. brought to my attention what is called, Illinois DOT. This didn't come up right. Shoot. Hang on one second. On the Illinois DOT LinkedIn page, I would assume it's on their website as well, but this was shared with me from their LinkedIn page. They have a post from 4 days ago that asks us to share your thoughts about adding projects that are part of our federally required State Transportation Improvement Program, or STIP, okay? And you can review the list of items that are out there that have been approved. Like, I think they were in a 2023 to 27 cycle. And so now they have a chance to add to them, right? A lot of highway projects and all that kind of stuff. There you can ask questions, leave comments, and learn more about the STIP process. The public comment period ends in 15 days, so 11 days from now, if I do the math correctly. So I was planning to send you this link. And if you are interested advocating for this, for the city, to have money for our train solution be allocated from these projects, or be added as a project here, I should say that more correctly, to be added as a project, now is the time to do that. And I discussed with Mr. Hughes briefly just getting that information out to the public as well. So it's kind of like a witness slip, right? But it's a period of public comment. I just think it's important for those downstate looking at this issue, right, of what are the projects coming up with budgeted dollars, to see a united voice coming from the Quad Cities. I didn't get a chance to share it yet with the other Illinois mayors and administrators yet, but that's a normal process. So I'm happening to get it out to you all here first in public comment, but I hope to be able to follow up with them quickly. I think it would be a worthwhile effort. There is an email there to put right now. Okay, so that's the biggest thing right now. Thank you to those of you who went to the poverty conference, and for Mr. Schmidt for stepping in my place to talk about our Level Up program. I hope it was a valuable experience. There's a couple ribbon cuttings starting to happen in the next few weeks, things to celebrate. So please be paying attention to those. And also the one that it wasn't a ribbon cutting. It was just a grand opening for a new yarn shop, Fiber and Stem, up in the Old Town area. I was glad I just happened upon that through a friend. So however we can encourage, I don't know what the link is from CED or like zoning or any kind of like approval process to let us know when a new store is opening, right? Because they don't have, Old Town doesn't have Kirk Marsky like downtown does.
No, they don't.
Right? Or then they might not be a member of the chamber that would sponsor a ribbon cutting. But these are all good things to know about, so
Okay.
if we can figure
We can
that
look
out.
into that.
Okay, that's all I have. Ms. Murphy?
First Ward is having their first meeting of the year next Thursday at 6 to 7:30 at the Ben Butterworth. I assure you, if you want to come, the room will be large. Last year, it was a little tight, standing room only, but we have the large room.
This time you have the
reserved.
big
Yes,
room.
we
Okay,
have the
great.
big room. Yes, so.
You don't have the racquetball court.
No, we don't have the racquetball, but that was all we could get at the last
Right, yeah,
minute,
no, I get it. That's good.
So.
Thank you. Mr. Macias.
Thank you, Your Honor. And I actually saw that it was promoted on one of those screens on some of the neighborhood signs. I was asked before from a group, what is the process to get information on there? So if those procedures have not been put together, or when they get put together, if those could be shared with us, as I have had a request. And so now that they're up, I'm sure they're gonna come back and ask, so.
Yeah, it is a city controlled, like city events and things like that. So do we know the status of our rules and regs?
We are actually working on finalizing those. There's really two sets of rules. There's HUD, since they were all HUD funded. And it's good to report a sign in Floreciente is up and running after we suffered a theft of the copper conduit that was installed originally. That's why there was a delay. So we made sure that when the copper conduit was installed this time, that Mid-American was present to light it up right away, so that way we don't have that problem again. But there are some rules that Ashley is working on with KJ that we want to make sure that we adhere to. And then, of course, city business, meetings that are taking place, ward meetings, council meetings, plan commission meetings, library board, whatever we are doing as an organization, trying to get that messaging out and across. Private advertising is not something we were looking at promoting, if that's what you were just asking.
It's an organization, so, yeah.
We haven't got there, we haven't got that far yet.
Yeah.
Just make a note of it.
I think that's also, legal needs to make a note of that
Yeah.
too, because of varieties of ways speech
Exactly.
can be interpreted, et cetera. We don't, that's probably, I'm guessing, why we wouldn't get involved with private organizations.
Absolutely. Just want to know what
Yep.
I can say to them once that's put together.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks.
Mr. Razak?
Thank you, Rona. I am congratulating Honorable Mayor for her re-election and elder person at large, Mr. Macias, Timan, and McNeil. I hope that with your re-election, we'll able to serve our resident with great enthusiasm. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Mr. Timian?
Thank you, Your Honor. I've invited a number of you, but I thought I'd formally invite the group. On May 2nd, Humility Homes does have their immersion experience where you get to spend some time and hear from people who've experienced homelessness firsthand and see the facilities and the living quarters and get to understand what it's like to be in their shoes. I did this last year. It was a great experience. It was very eye-opening. I think as leaders who like to lead with empathy, this is an important experience to try to attend if possible. I can send you guys a link if you're interested, but it is May 2nd this year, and I hope you guys would consider going. Thank you.
Ms. Finch? Mr. McNeil?
Well, thank you, Mayor. Just proud to be part of the city that encourages and plans for public participation and input, whether it's the strategic plan or the ward meeting or the listening sessions. I think that's pretty great. Follow up on the poverty conference. It was great to see you all. It was really great to see all of the staff. Community and Economic Development was represented. Library staff was there as well. So I think they announced every child had the most at 20, but we had to be right behind them. So yeah, it's nice.
Thank you.
That's all.
Nothing, Your Honor.
Mr. Schmidt?
Nothing, Your Honor.
Thank you. I did note to Mr. Vitas, I don't know if you've seen the for sale sign on the Every Child, since you mentioned Every Child on their building. I knew they had purchased. I said, please make sure they don't paint over the mural like a different building had a mural painted over. So, I doubt you've had time to follow up on that yet, but
Not everything.
just so you know. All right. Anything from staff? Miscellaneous.
I'm good tonight. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Public comments? Nobody new? And we have executive session.
Your Honor, I make a motion that the council convene an executive session for the purpose of discussion of appointment, employment, compensation, discipline, performance, or dismissal of specific employees, 5 ILCS 120/2C1, property acquisition -5 ILCS 120/2C5.
Second.
Motion by Murphy, seconded by Timian. Roll call, please.
Alderperson Castro.
Aye.
Schmidt.
Aye.
Murphy.
Aye.
Macias.
Aye.
Razak.
Aye.
Timian.
Aye.
Finch.
Aye.
McNeil.
Aye.
8 ayes, no nays, that motion carries.
Thank you.
The both, like